What's up? It's your girl from Be Fit. If you don't know who I am, I'm an online weight loss coach who's dedicated to calling out all the BS in the fitness industry and providing you with accurate fitness, nutrition, and weight loss information. Today, wow, super highly requested video. I know it took me forever to get this video done, but we're talking about how to get through weight loss plateaus. The reason it's taken me so long to put this out is because it's not an easy topic to just cover like in a quick video, but I'm gonna do my best to give you guys information that's gonna be relevant to the largest majority of you. But remember, this can be a tricky topic, so I hope this is helpful. But there may have to be some trial and error on your end, but don't give up. Try not to get too frustrated. But first, this video is sponsored by Built Bar. I just got a new mixed box and I wanted to check out what flavors they sent me because not every mixed box is gonna have the same like flavors or combination of flavors. So my favorites from what they sent me, 2 salted caramels, score, one of my faves, 2 cookies and cream, another fave, and 2 coconut and 2 almond coconut. I'm so happy. If you have not tried out Built Bar yet, I do recommend trying a mixed box so you can try a bunch of different flavors, figure out which ones are your favorite, and then once you have your faves, you can just order those. Also, you gotta follow Built on social media because they have limited sales of like really amazing flavors and they go quick. So you gotta like know when it's happening, and I don't always have the time to let you guys know in advance. But anyway, I love Built because it's got awesome calories to protein, like high protein, lower in calories compared to a lot of other protein bars, and the texture and the flavors are just like immaculate. So if you want to try Built Bar or you need to restock, you can use this discount code or use the link in the description to get 15% off your order. Thanks Built for sponsoring this video. What we need to know for the foundation of this video and the content that you're about to learn is that if you are in a weight loss plateau or you're not able to lose weight, you're not in a calorie deficit. Period. That's it. That's the foundation. If you need to learn more about a calorie deficit or calories in general, you can check out this playlist, especially this video, all about a calorie deficit. But so I know that sounds simple, like you're not in a calorie deficit, just get in a calorie deficit. However, the reason this gets a little tricky or complicated is because there are multiple reasons that you might not be in a deficit. And so that's what I'm gonna cover in this video. So you can figure out why you're not in a calorie deficit and then how to fix that and get in one so you can keep losing weight. But quick disclaimer, if you are really, really stuck, especially after going through this video and you're like, I still can't figure it out, it would be a good idea to check in with a medical professional who can evaluate your health and readiness for weight loss. And my second disclaimer is what I mentioned in the beginning, that this is so tricky and it's gonna be impossible for me to help every single one of you guys watching this video. When I have a consultation, 90% of the consultations that I do are weight loss plateau related. I ask the person I'm doing the consultation with like a million questions to help figure out why this is happening and how we can fix it. So that's another option. You can book a consultation with me and we can figure it out together. Now, the first thing that we need to do before we get into the reasons of why you're not in a calorie deficit, we need to define plateau, because I cannot count how many messages I have received from people saying, I'm in a plateau, help, what do I do? And they're like, I haven't gotten results for a week, or I haven't gotten results for 2 weeks. That is not a plateau in my opinion. And so the information that I'm gonna share is not relevant to you if that's you. I consider a plateau to be 3 to 4 weeks minimum of getting 0 results. And the caveat here and why I emphasized 0 results is because you need an effective progress tracking strategy in order to even know if you're getting progress or not getting progress. And so many of you do not have an effective progress tracking strategy in place. So the time frame, I said 3 to 4 weeks of 0 results, is going to depend on your progress tracking strategy. So if your strategy is less effective, I recommend waiting longer before actually deciding that you're in a plateau. If you're crushing it with tracking your progress and you got all the data, you're analyzing your data, then it might make sense to realize that you're in a plateau sooner because you have enough information to make that decision. And so here's a quick list of all the different ways that you can track your progress for weight loss. We have scale weight at varying frequencies, meaning how often you're weighing yourself. We have girth measurements, which is like measuring how, like the circumference of your waist. We have progress photos or videos. We have how your clothes fit, and we also have how you feel. Your progress tracking strategy may also differ depending on what your goals are with weight loss. Like, why are you losing weight in the first place? If it's to get a smaller waist, you absolutely need to be tracking your waist measurement. If it's about feeling better, actually keeping track somehow, whether it's journaling or whatever else, of how you feel is going to be a huge determining factor of whether or not you're getting results. I recommend using a combination of these things in order to get the most effective progress tracking strategy. I could literally talk about this topic for like a million years. Number one, because it's very important and most people are neglecting it. And because it depends on your specific needs, like I mentioned before. So if I were gonna like fully explain this, I would want to go over every possible situation and every possible unique individual in order to talk about the nuance of tracking your progress. Like, you don't have to use any one of these progress tracking strategies. Depending on your needs and your relationship with some of these options, you got to do what's best for you and your goals and your needs and your lifestyle. So this is why I cover this in the very first module of my weight loss course, because it's super important. Most people neglect it, and it's so nuanced based on your specific needs. If you're interested in joining my course or learning more about it, you can use the link pinned in the comments and in the description. I would love to have you. It's my pride and joy. But moral of the story here, if you have not gotten results in 1 or 2 weeks, it's a good idea, and the step that you should take is practicing some patience and reconsider your progress tracking strategy. And now finally, the first reason that you may not be in a calorie deficit is medical reasons. For example, a health condition like hypothyroidism affects your metabolism. Your metabolism dictates how many calories you burn every day. And so if you have something that is preventing your metabolism from operating at its like peak performance, or at least normal performance, that's what we want to address first. If this is you, I recommend pausing weight loss, forget about the weight loss for a second, and do whatever you need to do to fix or at least like mitigate that health issue or health concern. And then once you've tackled all of that, then we can start thinking about weight loss. And in that case, you would refer to the next 2 reasons why you might not be in a deficit. The second reason you might not be in a deficit is metabolic adaptation, and yikers. This one is controversial. It's complex. I'm going to do my best, but I probably need to make an entire separate video on this. For the purposes of this video, okay, we're boiling it down to basics. Your metabolism is adapting to external factors. When it comes to weight loss, this is most commonly going to be your diet. When you eat too few calories, like those people who are recommending like 800, 1200 calorie diets, that's too big of a deficit. You're eating too few calories. Also, if you've just been in a deficit, even if it's a moderate deficit for too long, those are both huge reasons and the most common reasons why your metabolism might be adapting. And so what's happening is your metabolism is decreasing. So you're eating super low calories, or you've been in a deficit for a really long time and your body's like, listen, not digging this anymore or at all. Let's decrease how many calories we're burning every day in order to preserve energy and not continue to lose weight. Because even if you think that you should be losing weight, your body may not be down with that. And so this sounds like kind of weird, maybe, that your body can just be like, let's burn less calories. But I think I was listening to a podcast with Alan Aragon and Leanne Ward, the fitness dietitian, and they were talking about, I think, a study that showed like they looked at people who were eating a decent amount of calories and then were eating fewer calories, and they were experiencing some metabolic adaptation. Their metabolism had decreased, and the people who were experiencing metabolic adaptation, when they're having conversations, were moving around less in the conversation. Their heads are moving less, their hands are moving less. Like, your body will figure out ways to conserve energy, and it's likely going to be in a way that you don't even notice. So if your metabolism has adapted, maybe you're more likely to like not want to get up off the couch to go grab the remote across the room to change what's on the TV. You're just going to stick with what's already on. You're going to pick the elevator instead of the stairs. Like little tiny things, you know? But the good news here is that your metabolism can adapt right back to its healthy, most optimal, normal levels. All you need to do is increase the amount of calories you're consuming. Usually the target is your maintenance calories, or what's supposed to be your maintenance calories, and give your body some time to feel like it's safe enough to increase that energy expenditure again. There are multiple strategies for this, and the most common two are increasing your calories straight up to what your maintenance is supposed to be and just ride it out. Usually the sign that you're all good to go as far as the increasing your calories is that your weight plateaus, like you're not gaining weight at maintenance. Or there's a reverse diet where you're increasing your calories more slowly, like in increments. You can also do this on a schedule where you stick to it no matter how your body responds, or you can use your body as feedback where you increase your calories a certain amount, you wait to see how your body reacts, and based on your body's feedback, you decide whether or not to keep your calories there for now or increase them again. But the target goal is usually getting back to what your maintenance should be, and the goal is to not gain weight at those calories. I do cover reverse dieting in my course, but if you're looking for one-on-one help with reverse dieting, I highly recommend these coaches who talk a lot about reverse dieting because they do that a lot with their clients. With Lacey, I was actually her client for my second bodybuilding competition. She's amazing. I cannot recommend her enough. Mackenzie, I actually know in real life. She's so knowledgeable. She dedicates so much to her clients. And Emily Duncan, I actually met at a random fitness expo before I even knew who she was, but she's one of my all-time favorite like fitness influencers to follow. And if you're wondering what to expect from a reverse diet or increasing your calories, it totally depends on the person. Everybody's body can react differently. You could maintain your weight the entire time, you could increase your weight, or your weight could even go down. When I was still working with clients, I had a client whose weight stayed the same or slightly decreased during our reverse diet. When I personally reverse dieted out of my second bodybuilding competition, I was doing it with Lacey, and my weight stayed relatively the same the majority of the time we were doing that. But when you're coming out of a bodybuilding show, the goal is to gain some weight because you're not trying to stay at like stage lean. It's healthy to get your body fat levels back up or get your weight back up. But regardless of how your body responds to increasing your calories, it is super, super necessary that you stick with it and you do it, because there's only one other alternative in this situation if you are experiencing metabolic adaptation, and I do not recommend the alternative. The alternative, again, please don't do this, is to keep decreasing your calories or exercising more in order to get your body into a calorie deficit and losing weight again. But all you're doing when you do this is just digging yourself into like a deeper hole where you're gonna get to the point where you have to eat a tiny amount of calories to maintain your results or continue to lose weight. And not only is this just a miserable place to be, like it's not enjoyable at all, it's not healthy for you. When your body is experiencing metabolic adaptation, that alone isn't healthy, but if you're not able to eat more calories or a normal amount of calories, you're likely not going to be getting the necessary nutrients that you need for optimal health. So again, this is a bad place to be. You gotta increase your calories, please. And I know it can be so tricky to like figure out if this is you and if a reverse diet or increasing your calories is the right option. So here are some reasons why you may be a good candidate for this, or how you can kind of get a good idea of whether or not you are experiencing metabolic adaptation. Number one, you're recovering from exercise poorly. Number two, you have overall fatigue regardless of exercise. Number three, your appetite is poor. I have seen so many people who really desperately need to increase their calories and they're like, I tried to eat more and I couldn't. If you can't eat a normal amount of calories, that's a sign that your metabolism adapted. And number four, if you've been trying to lose weight or you've been dieting for a long period of time, chances are this is the category that you fall into. The longer you've been trying to lose weight or the longer you've been dieting, the higher your chances are that you're experiencing this. And the third and final reason that you are not in a calorie deficit is you just aren't. The other two reasons were kind of like there's something wrong here and that's why you're not in a deficit. The only other option is that there's nothing wrong. You're just not in a deficit. And this can happen even if you swear that you should be in a deficit, especially if you've like calculated all your calories and the numbers say that you should be in a deficit. That doesn't necessarily mean that you are, for a number of reasons. As humans, we are just naturally inclined to underestimate how many calories we're eating or how much we're eating and overestimate how many calories we're burning. And this is even true if you're tracking everything meticulously. Like if you're tracking your calories and you like have an Apple Watch and you're tracking your energy expenditure, you still could be not in a deficit even if the numbers say you should be. First of all, throw the Apple Watch away. Don't listen to that. I never recommend tracking your calories from exercise or even just throughout the day because the methods like the trackers that we tend to use are not going to be accurate. And when it comes to calorie tracking, I do value calorie tracking in a lot of ways, but the goal is not perfection ever, and perfection is not required whether you're tracking or not in order to lose weight. So even if it is your fault that you're like tracking your calories incorrectly or you're eating more than you think you are, That's okay. I'm not going to tell you track more meticulously, make sure you're not messing up. That's not where we're going with this. The next step for you to get out of this plateau, if you fit into this category, is to think about small ways that you can stimulate a calorie deficit. So small ways that you can either increase the amount of calories you're burning each day or decrease the calories you're consuming, or a combination of both. So for exercise, this can look like increasing the duration of your workouts by maybe 10 minutes each time you work out, or adding an additional exercise session to your week, even if it's not like a full-on workout session like your other ones are. If you're wanting to figure out how to create a workout strategy for weight loss, I have this video right here. That is a great place to start. This can also look like hitting a step goal every day or increasing your step goal if you already have one. You can also set a timer every day or start your day with a solo dance party. I used to do this every morning. I would start with a dance party, but I live on the 3rd floor and my office floor is kind of creaky. And so I was worried that like the whole time I was like, you know, like the person below me was like, the point is to make it as fun and easy as you can. Another option I just thought of, I got a little stepper for my standing desk, which was so much more of a workout than I thought it was gonna be. I've also been seeing tons of people on TikTok who get a treadmill to work with like a standing desk, and I wanted to do that, but again, creaky floors. For diet, this can look like decreasing the portions of the foods that you're already eating, but just slightly. The example I always use with this is I love toast, jalapeno cream cheese, scrambled eggs, or toast with like cream cheese and fruit preserves. If you like a salty and a sweet kind of combo, 2 pieces of toast with that. It's one of my favorite things to eat in the morning. But if I was just living my best life, I would be eating so much cream cheese on those pieces of bread. So one way that you can decrease your calories every day is to just decrease the amount of cream cheese that I'm putting on those pieces of toast. If you love to have ice cream every night, keep having the ice cream, just have a little tiny bit less. Unless you obsess over it, you might not even notice. The way that I think about it is like, how much of this food or ingredient do I need to still really enjoy this, but save a little bit on my calories? Another option for diet is to look at the way that you're cooking your meals or the ingredients in those meals and swap things out for more calorie-friendly options. I love me some hot chocolate in the winter, so I started making protein hot chocolate. That wasn't necessarily a calorie saver, but it gave me a lot of protein, which is more satisfying, which made me less hungry throughout the day, which is actually my next tip, which is to make your meals more satisfying so that you're less hungry and less likely to eat more calories throughout the day because your meals aren't as effective as they could be. I highly recommend checking out this video for all of my hunger hacks for weight loss. But the other thing, the drink that I love in the summertime or when it's warmer out is Thai iced tea. And I learned to make that at home in a way that was so much more calorie friendly. Also like chai iced teas from Starbucks. I figured out how to make that at home for way less calories, but it still was so delicious. And before anybody asks, it's on my to-do list to create a freebie for you guys of all my favorite like comfort drinks and how you can have them in a more calorie-friendly way. But swapping things out for more calorie-friendly options can even just look like at the grocery store, reading nutrition labels, because like things like cheese, pasta sauce, dairy in general, meats, there's so many different things where if you were to compare 2 different options, one is way more calorie friendly than the other, and you probably wouldn't even notice. And the last option for diet is if you are tracking your calories, this would look like decreasing your calories by like 50 to 100 per day. That's it. Again, the point is small changes in order to get you back into that calorie deficit. And a lot of times that might be all it takes. So what's the point in doing something crazy drastic and changing everything if you could change just a little tiny bit and start getting results again? But besides like all of these strategies that I'm sharing with you being much more enjoyable, they actually end up being more effective. Because if you do something drastic, you risk unestablishing the baseline that you had previously established. And what I mean by that is when you get to a place where you're doing a specific strategy and you're not getting results, you can look at that and say, I'm not in a calorie deficit. How do I create one? Whereas if you switch up everything all at once, you may make changes in a way that now you, again, don't know if you're in a calorie deficit or where to go from there. So like an example is going from like diet to diet. Like I'm clean eating or I'm paleo or Whole30 or whatever, and now I'm gonna do keto. Those things are so drastically different that there's a chance you can make that switch and go from paleo, clean eating, Whole30, whatever, to keto, and you could potentially be eating more calories on keto, which is such a waste of your time and energy. I want you to do something and decide to make changes that are going to be the most likely to get you results. When you make small changes to your diet or make small changes to the exercise like that you're already doing, you're just increasing the likelihood that that decision is going to create a calorie deficit for you. And lastly, when you do things that are drastic, you're increasing the likelihood that you're going to be miserable. And that is not good for consistency or longevity when it comes to weight loss. And both of those things tend to be necessary for lasting weight loss results. So that is about as much as I'm comfortable sharing when it comes to getting out of weight loss plateaus, because again, this stuff is so nuanced, it's so specific to your needs and your goals that anything further would probably require some one-on-one help or additional more in-depth services. However, I do have other content on my channel that might help you figure some of this stuff out if you're still feeling stuck. So things like that calorie deficit video that I mentioned, how to calculate your calories for weight loss, how to create the best exercise strategy for weight loss, that hunger hacks video that I mentioned that went up recently, probably lots of others that I can't think of. So if you're finding that a specific area of anything that I talked about is something you're struggling with, check to see if I already have a video about it on my channel. But you can also reach out to me for a consultation. The link will be in the description. I also, again, would love to have you in my course, which breaks everything you need to know about weight loss down into more depth than I can get here on YouTube. As usual, thank you so much for watching. Your support means the absolute world to me. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe here. You can also follow me on TikTok and on Instagram, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.